About 5 years ago, we had to replace the heating and air unit on our house because the heating side went out. This is the old unit I replaced. I saved it because the air conditioning side still works just fine. It's always been my intention to hook it up to my shop, but I just never got around to it. That is, until today. I didn't get any video of the actual install though, because there were 3 of us working on it, sometimes on 3 different things in 3 different locations at the same time. And since I gave my 6-man professional camera crew the day off, it would have been logistically difficult to film everything. For that reason, I'm going to give you the highlights, but don't worry, we'll have time to squeeze in a little project at the end of the video. So let's get started. In the background you can see the new unit attached to my house, and in the foreground of course is the old unit attached to the shop. We had to cut 2 16-inch holes in the metal, one for the return duct and one for the supply duct. You can't see them because they're covered with this shroud. However, if we move inside and take a look at this picture taken before we ran the ducts, you can see the supply duct hole on the left. The return duct hole is under the workbench on the right. You can't see it because I've boxed it in and left an opening for a return air grill and a furnace filter. When I built my workshop, I put in 6 opaque skylight panels in the roof. These let in lots of natural light, and on a sunny day I wouldn't even have to turn the overhead lights on. The only problem is they're not insulated, so they condense and sweat and drip all over my equipment. I thought it might even be worse with an air-conditioned space inside, so the first thing we did was cover all the skylights with 1/2-inch foam board. Now going back to this picture, you get a good look at the before again. And now this picture shows you the after. On the right you see the return air grill, and on the left you see the supply line coming in. And as we follow this supply line up the wall, you see that it does a turn, comes to the center of the building, does a 90-degree turn there, and then the trunk line runs down the center of the roof. There's 4 10-inch drops along the trunk line. Here we're seeing pictures of the drops before the diffusers were put on the ends. And here we see them after the diffusers have been installed. Looking back at this picture, I see 2 problems with it. Number 1, the ductwork is not protected, so it could get damaged at any time. And number 2, the thermostat is sitting on the workbench. It needs to be hanging on the wall. Here's where that project I promised you comes in. Let's get started on that. The first thing we have to do is rip down some pieces of OSB. We're going to use these as the housing around our duct. In order to attach the OSB on the corners, we're going to rip down some 1x to use as reinforcements. We're going to do a little pre-assembly over here on the workbench. First with a little glue, and then we're going to tack it in place with some brads. The brads just help get everything lined up. Where the strength comes in are these drywall screws. I make each of the sections this way. On the wall I've already attached a couple of cleats, so I have something to screw the OSB to. Here I'm just fitting it around the duct. Since this front leg is just floating, I had to attach another 1x kicker to go all the way back to the wall. This will keep it from pushing in. I had to pull my refrigerator out to screw this panel on. Here I'm securing it to that strip that I had attached to the wall previously. Now I'm attaching the other side to its strip. Now we put the front face on. You can see why we attached the one bias to it. It gives us a place to screw this face onto. I did the front in 2 halves. That way I can get the top mounted and then fish the thermostat wire up and mount the thermostat on the top half before I mount the bottom half. And here's the finished product. Gives us a place for the thermostat, and it protects that ductwork so I don't hit it accidentally and put a big hole in it. After all this time and work, I'd hate for that to happen. Well, I'm super pleased at how this all turned out. I'm especially happy to have AC in the shop now. I should have done this years ago. However, I do see one improvement I'm going to make to this. That gap between the duct chase and the cabinet on the right, I've got an idea for a nice project to fill that in with, but you're going to have to wait till the next video to see that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this one, and as always, thanks for watching.